Shalom, Kororo Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rahahakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the globe. My name is Barad Duvall, coming to you from the GMS campus, Indianapolis. And to all those listening and learning to you, I say Shalom, especially to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that make up the 12 tribes of Israel. Today is just going through some basic scriptures. Uh, uh, our elder apostles would actually say, back to the basics, order. Okay, when it comes down to the order, Yahweh Bashem Shai is dealing with the man first and foremost, and of course, then the woman, and then of course the children. But before even the man, there is Yahweh Shai, and then above Yahweh Shai, there's Yahweh. This is the book of First Corinthians, chapter 1, verses 11, 1 through 3. And again, hopefully, like always, this is edifying, uplifting, exhorting to the elect body. Because let's just read that. Actually, I just have this thought. Because we're under the curses here in the Americas, uh, Esau Edom, under the hand of Esau Edom, so-called white man, he is pushing forward the affliction upon our people, and we're being attacked in all different manners in this system, and it becomes or creates a ball of confusion. You now have the woman a certain authority, and they're allowing for the woman to be in high positions over the man, especially the Israelite man. And then you have, in the process of that, they're making more money. Then they have the ability to actually speak, and as a process of that, it has created pride, uh, in our women and in our people. And part of that, the curses talks about how your eye will be evil toward your wife, and the wife eye will be evil toward her husband. Um, Couple that with bad eating, air quality, water, bills, as it tells us in Baruch chapter 3 verse 8, we are yet this day in our captivity. And so under the stress, it is very likely, to be in a household, and in many households as I grew up, without a father in the home. Um, in many of the households. But then, if you are ones of these so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians that have a father in the home, you have the mother and father both in the home, then there is still some type of um, uh, what, the word will come to me, but there is still some type of tension that goes along within the house. So again, it had this spark because again, if we could just keep to that particular order within the home, understanding that that Yahweh Shai comes first, then the man, then the woman, and then the children, then things would fare a little bit better, a little bit a little bit more peaceful within the home. And so we have some work to do, but of course we know that in the end, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to put things in its righteous order when He returns. But we're rehearsing the righteous acts. We're trying to do righteously to the best of our ability, as long as we're in this flesh. But here we go. So this is the book of First Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 1 through 3. It says, "Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of Hamashiach," which is Yahweh Shai, the Anointed. "Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things and keep the ordinances," okay, which would be the laws, all right, "as I deliver them to you. But I have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is the Most High." So that is the order. And we have to understand that regardless of whether women you agree with your husband, whether he believes or not, you are under his tutelage. You're under his subjection. You're his possession. So regardless of whether if he's in this truth or not, you've been married unto him, so you are tied unto him for as long as he lives. And of course, for those that are women that have men that are in this truth, in this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, especially if those that are of the elect, the hopeful elect, you actually have a prize. The scriptures talk about how you are how a man, an elect man, would be as the gold of Ophir, as fine gold, something precious. Well, the world tells you otherwise. They start to speak as the woman being the prize and not the man. But in actuality, according to the eyes of the Lord, the men will be precious. Okay, and then it trickles on down because again, if it, from the man, the family, if they're in order, they benefit. Think about Noah, the story of Noah. It was because of his righteousness and his continuous work and toiling uh, that not only himself but his wife, his three children, and their wives were saved, being underneath his household. So the order is something that Yahweh Shai has created. Don't shoot the messenger. But we have a lot of women in these days because they have been given this freedom to gad abroad. They have um, they have had this ideology of this feminism movement of saying they don't need a man. When in all actuality, it's gonna those that hold on to that understanding and don't change their mindset and convert in the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, they're going to be in a rude awakening. But again, just continuing on with the order, just to show you, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, 21, verse 3. He says, "And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men." Okay, the house of David. All right, it begins with the men, the 144,000. Yahweh Shai, then 144,000 are going to be the body of rulers. All right, elect rulers. All right, praying that myself and those that teach the likewise doctrine under, starting with the head of, you know, the great men in GMS, the head apostles and elders, those teach likewise doctrine, and those that I personally teach with, pray that we be of that number. Just, so it says, is with men and will dwell with him, and they shall be his people, and the Most High shall himself shall be with them and be their power. Okay, so again, all these things are going to start with the elect man. All right, this is the book of Proverbs chapter 8 verse 4. He says, "And unto you, O man, I call." He says, "And my voice is to the sons of men." All right, so the voice of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the prophets, is speaking unto the men first to get in order. All right. When you look in the book of Numbers, I believe it might be 1 and 18. Sometimes I get sometimes I get the numbers mixed, 18 and 1. I believe it's 1 and 18, where where they line up, all the fathers according to their pedigree, their lineage, according to the tribe, based off the fathers. Okay, it wasn't the woman; it was based off the fathers. The seed, the children that comes from that woman, the it's based off of the father. Those children belong to the father, like a seed being planted into the earth. Okay, whatever seed, if it's an apple seed, if it's an orange seed, when that tree grows and is nourished and it grows, then it's going to bear the fruit of that particular seed, and the man carries the seed. All right, and so the Lord is starting things through the man, and the woman, is an added piece, but she has to be in order with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, because the world is teaching that the things like the woman can do things that a man can do, that a woman can assert themselves in high positions and high rankings, and so they try to take away the thing of logic. All right, but again, this is just the order that Yahweh Shai is dealing. And if the man is not doing according to the ways of the Heavenly Father, then that man is going to have to take an account for that, whether they be in this truth or not. Like you had in the days, you had men who did adverse to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, of the children of Israel, and their whole families were put down because of that man. All right. But then you also have men who did well by Yahweh Shem Shai, like I mentioned Noah, and the whole family was blessed. Okay, and so it goes by the man. And then when you look in the book uh, Exodus, where even Moses, though he was the younger of Aaron and Miriam, when Miriam spoke, she spoke out of, and Aaron spoke. They spoke out of line, out of order, and Yahweh Shai dealt with her. When you look into that story, you see that the Lord dealt with her in such a way that um, to show that she was completely out of line. And so there is an order that has to be reestablished. It's reestablished first by the man, and then, it's established by Yahweh Shem Shai to give us this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Then the man continued to push forth. What did he say? Through faith, we establish the law. We don't make void the law, we establish it. So that's part of our order. Okay. That was Paul, saying. So, and then the women, when you come into this knowledge, this knowledge and understanding, you have to fall in line, fall in order. Don't try to assert yourself and teach these scriptures, to men. You know, you, if you have, you teach the younger women, if you want to talk to them, but the women should be silent and teaching at home. That's just a whole nother conversation, but that is part of the order. Okay. And then, of course, like I said, the Lord, you have to have faith in which the men in which you have, or the men that you deal, that you, that are in your life, as far as your husband is concerned, if they're in this faith, you have to have faith in your husband that the way he's moving and the things that he's doing are in court in in the vein, or not the vein, so like you, is in the realm of Yahweh Bashir Yahweh Shai. So as the man has to be faithful to Yahweh, to Yahweh Shai, as the nation of as a nation of men and women and children, as a nation, we are the bride of Yahweh Shai. When you read in Psalms, I mean, excuse me, Ephesians 5, and around the 25th verse, it goes into washing the woman with the word. So there's an order in which the man has to conduct himself, even when it comes down to dealing with this woman. But everything could work much peacefully if everyone continues to work in order and take accountability for their position. All right. This is the book of um, Proverbs, chapter 8, verse 31. It says, "Rejoice in the habitation in the habitable parts." Salakia. It does that. It says, "Rejoice," as you can see there, "rejoicing in the habitable parts of his earth, and my delights with the sons of men." And I always like to, when I hear the delights, I always like to go into, when you can on your spare time, go into Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 23, verse 24, 23 and 24. 24 explains to you what he delights in. He delights in long suffering, being patient and bearing with, his elect, uh, his kindness, his mercy, righteousness, judgment. These things he's given that knowledge and understanding, into those that he delights in. All right. So we're going to delight in Yahweh Bashim Shai. And so as a woman, as far as that order, you want to delight in your husband. And of course, the children also, follow that order. So everything comes down and everything goes up, as far as how it should flow, as far as giving honor and respect and reverence. Okay. Because it's even said, like, even if a woman, in the ancient time, if she prayed to the Most High and her husband didn't agree with, or made a vow to the Most High, and the husband didn't agree, he can disannul that vow. So it's just showing you the position in which the man was given. Okay, so everything runs through that man. This is and I think I wrote this is the last scripture. This says, this is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 13 and 14. He says, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear, okay, reverence, respect, honor, okay, the Most High, and keep His commandments. For this is the whole duty of man, who the Israelite man, because He's given only the laws, statutes, and commandments to the Israelite man. All right." He says, for the Most High Yahweh shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So if you're really trying in the spirit and being sincere, as far as a man of the Lord, to um, to to be in the conduct of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, to conduct themselves righteously to the best of their ability, then the Lord, is gonna, give according to the judgment a good a good reward and being sincere. And as far as the women that may have men or not have men, if you're listening to the men of the Lord, starting with the men of GMS, the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone, those that teach the likewise doctrine, and you staying firm, just listening, uh, and staying and keeping yourself accountable, then you yourself, from hearing the men of the Lord and doing what is being told, could very well be um, saved as well. As it tells us in Timothy, you may, if we hold true to the doctrine, you know, um, roughly paraphrasing, he says, and teach it. He said, you may save yourself and them that hear you. So again, it's just a quick vid on order. I hope that this lesson was edifying, uplifting, exhorting to the true believers of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Before I end, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rahahakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the globe. Until next time, all those listening and learning to you, I say, Shalom.